Round of applause for the squad, for real. I've been laid back for what feels like the better part of 2 months, so when they come through and drop a strong pod, I have to call it out. I also have to acknowledge the difference between the two pods. Flip. Before I even got into my diatribe for today, I was on the phone with my brother earlier, like we are every single day, and he randomly started talking to me about the pod, which honestly hasn't happened in a minute. And it was on a positive note too, specifically about the intro. We started reminiscing about those Drake-era vibes, that 08, 09, 2010-ish run. Then he hit me with, man, Flip has gotten way better. Yo, he said Flip was potting his ass off today. He even said he hoped someone would actually acknowledge it. And listen, my brother knows exactly what I do for a living, so that was his slick way of telling me, you better make a solid video about Flip today. So I told him, all right, bet, I got you. Flip, I'ma give you your flowers because you earned them. You've learned how to choose your moments instead of forcing them. You're given flashes of that original Queenzflip energy, but you're sitting back more now. And unfortunately for you, as far as the pod goes, that actually makes the show better. You're getting your questions off, moving the conversation forward, and letting things breathe. You're not trying to be the center of the room or the spotlight every second anymore. Now, with all the Mona smoke floating around, it's easy to lump y'all together, but I'm gonna isolate this and just compare you to the old version of you. When you first joined, you were the spark. Nobody else was bringing the energy you were bringing at that time, so you felt like you had to turn it up every single time you spoke. That's the same issue people have with Mona right now, which is why I had to go back and really analyze her solo to understand why she moves the way she does around the guys. I felt like I cracked that code. Flip, on the other hand, there's no excuse left. The fact that you're even being mentioned in the same conversation should tell you something. Like, yeah, bro, I've been messing this up for a long time. I literally just saw a clip from Deontay Kyle that made me want to hunt down the full episode. This dude has been destroying my algorithm. He said, man, I didn't even like my mom. She used to get on my nerves. He said she slapped him for no reason. And as the clip kept going, it came out that he was selling drugs out of her house, had a gun tucked in or under the mattress. Cops were looking for him, active warrants and everything. Alright, G, listen closely. You might not feel like you did anything to her directly, but what's happening to her is a direct consequence of you. Yeah, in that context, you earned that slap. And honestly, the same logic applies to Flip.
Why do you get treated like this? Why do the guys constantly little bro you when you're on set? Why are you only showing up once a week instead of being there every day like everybody else? Why does Joe shut you down when you start talking about BTS? Why does he single you out specifically when these moments pop up? Hold up, I get it now. It's because you were the only one doing these things consistently enough for it to even become a topic. So when people try to compare Philip and Mona or pit them against each other, it's not random. It's happening because they carry similar energy and look like they might be heading down similar roads. Now, I'ma keep that part to myself. Flip, you do deserve to be on every episode of the pod, no question. But I can't ignore the rest of what people are saying anymore. Usually, when I rock with someone, I tune out the negative noise completely. But this time, it's getting louder and harder to dismiss. Even today, on what was a really good episode, I saw comments saying, if you have to tame someone from who they are they actually good? And then another one hit harder. Damn, Flip didn't talk for 40 minutes. Is he even needed? So, let's answer that directly. Yes, he's needed. And yes, he had to get tamed, because you can't have non-stop chaotic energy on a pod and expect it to flow cleanly. Joe has talked openly about aiming for Emmys at one point, so I'm gonna do my part here. As much as Flip says Joe has a powerful voice, I'm realizing the community's voice is powerful too. I'm gonna stop pitting Flip against Mona and start measuring Flip against the old Flip. Yes, he's choosing his moments better now. Yes, he's learned how to operate from the pocket like a quarterback who doesn't scramble every play. But it took you 4 years to get here, Flip, and let's be real. People only believe change is happening when they see you actually change yourself. This is the first time it feels like Flip truly took the warning seriously. Ian and Joe have been pulling him aside behind the scenes for years, and Flip used to bring that tension to the pod like it was just content or jokes for the audience. Like, yeah, I got in trouble, whatever, it's no big deal. All laughs, all games. Until it wasn't. It really clicked when Mona came in. He felt the same pressure Ish and Ice felt when Queenzflip and Melissa Ford showed up. Then he experienced it again when Mark Lamont Hill entered the picture. But now that Flip feels direct competition from Mona, suddenly it's time to tighten up. Come on, man.
It's funny how, instead of simply giving him credit where credit is due for what was actually a strong showing, people hesitate even though he did his job and the group, as a unit, had a solid episode today. Unfortunately, there's too much history attached to you for people to treat today like the standard instead of labeling it an exception. And I'm hoping the grace I'm extending right now is the same grace Mona eventually gets to work through her own growing pains and reach that same space. Because let's be real, it's very easy for audiences to turn their backs on the newest person in the room. It was easy to do that with Jay Wine too, calling her too aggressive, too loud, too much of everything. But here's the part nobody wants to admit. Nobody ever said what Jay Wine was saying was actually wrong. And if Mona gets pushed out, don't be surprised when time passes and nobody says the things she was calling out were wrong either. So in the same way all the people felt loyal to Flip because of what he contributed to the podcast early on, we have to acknowledge that Mona has the potential to bring value in her own way too. But teaching someone doesn't happen through isolation or freezing them out. So I don't know, y'all tell me if I'm bugging in the comments. Like the video if you rock with it, subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, then you already know the vibe. Are things changing? Is this actually a sign of a real tide shift? Is this growth, or is this Joe reacting to the backlash from the last episode and trying to quietly smooth things over? Because at the end of the day, it's water under the bridge. It really was just one bad episode. Unfortunately, it involved a different hosting dynamic, which means they now have a chance to correct it. I'm hoping, truly hoping, this was a one-time moment where Mona's contract got compared to Jay Wine's contract. Because if we're going to draw those comparisons, we have to be consistent and talk about all the similarities, not just the convenient ones. Either way, I'll catch y'all soon. Peace.